So I thought it'd be a great idea to create a series of videos on how to make writing instruments such as rollerball pens, ballpoint pens, and fountain pens. We can start with a simpler build using what's called a kit pen, where you could purchase a kit similar to what I'm holding here, make the pen body out of different material. Then we can progress maybe in future videos to a more challenging custom pen making, like how to make a fountain pen made of acrylics, different types of acrylics. So in this video, we will go through the process of making a kit pen. So hopefully you'll enjoy it. Hopefully it triggers you to have interest in wood turning and into pen making. So here's what goes inside a kit pen that is available online. You can so it'll have like the holding piece or the nib. It'll have a coupler to go into a brass tube, and then a finial, your center band, and the clip and the finial on the for your pen top cap. Here I'm marking the length of the brass tubes to the wood blanks so that I can cut them. The two wood blanks would be used later to form the pen's cap and body. We then have to measure the diameter of each of the brass tubes so that we can use the appropriate drill bits to drill the holes. This particular pen makes use of two bits. One is 10.5 millimeter, the other one it measures at about 12.5 millimeter. I'm using CA glue, thick CA glue, for a long curing period to glue the brass tubes to the wood blanks. A two-part epoxy glue would also work well. Applying just enough CA glue on the brass tubes so you can swirl them around inside the wood blanks. Being careful not to get glue inside the inner portion of the brass tubes, which could get in the way later during the build. If it does, if you get remnants of glue inside the brass tubes, you can always use a round file to remove them. Okay, so we're going to turn this first blank. We've got the mandrel goes in here, and then the bushings that are made for this particular pen kit are inserted into the brass tube that's inside the wood blank already. So it goes in here. This diameter is just the right size so that it goes in the brass tube, and we have to turn it to this diameter, the outside diameter. So that's our guide. Same on this side. Alright. So this goes inside, there's a hole, goes inside the mandrel. And then you take the tailstock, which is this, and I have this adjustable tip here to where it just goes inside the mandrel. Lock it in place, and you tighten it. Tighten it, and then you lock it in place. And then you bring the tool rest as close as possible so that you don't get any kickback. And about middle height of the blank. So then you turn it, make sure nothing is hitting, and then you turn it on. So right now it's 800 RPMs. Probably go up to 2000 RPMs. Maybe 1500. That's 1500 RPMs. You have to be careful you don't press too hard to where it'll blow up the wood, because it gets really thin as you get closer to the size of the blank. And then you can shape it however you want to shape the pen. So if you want like a rounded bulge on the middle, you can do that like that. Or if you just want something straight, you can turn it down some more. Right, so you can feel it. If it gets too hot, maybe stop a little bit, let it cool off, and then get back to it. But it's probably close to where we need to start sanding. Just want to smooth it out. Smooth it out. The finish that I like to use on these wood pens is a mixture of boiled linseed oil with CA glue. Rubbing the tissue on the wood blank generates heat, which then helps cure the CA glue onto the wood. You can apply as many layers of this finish to a wood blank to produce a more glossy finish, but in this case I wanted a more satin look to the pen and to preserve the feel of the wood when I'm holding the pen. Here I'm turning the bottom portion of the pen. One thing I really like about using a skew chisel is after you've turned the wood blanks, you pretty much have a smooth finish to where I normally just sand it starting at 220 to 400 sandpaper grit. Okay, so it's time to assemble the pin. We're going to start with the clip and the finial here. We'll press this on the blank. There's probably a better clamp for this, but for now, this will do. So provide enough pressure. The clip is pressed, or pressing the center band to the other end of the top tube. Go. So now we have the top of the pen assembled. This just needs to be pressed down to the threads. There's the finished pin.
Okay.
Alright, so after we've completed pressing the components to both of the top and bottom blanks. This is how it's going to look, right? You've got the couplers in here that's pressed to the blanks, as well as the center band and the clip on the top blank. And to assemble the rest of the pin, we just need to really just screw down the nib. So that's in place. And then this finial goes onto the other end with the spring. Okay, yeah, with the spring. Okay, so that's the pin without the refill. So to put the refill, really just take this out. You take the refill. This is a rollerball ceramic refill, and this is something that you can replace when the ink goes out. And so this goes inside, and it sits on that spring that we just put in there. And then you take the nib, insert it, and this screws on. So now it's screwed on, right? So that's the assembled pin. Okay, and then of course the top just screws onto the bottom, and there is the finished pin in the closed position, and then the finished pin open position, right? So last thing to do is to test to make sure it writes, which it does, nice and smooth, right? Lone Star Filipino. And take a close up of the pen. Oops. In this direction. Right? So, and then of course this doesn't really go that, you can't put the cap on this particular pin. On the other side it has to screw on. Let's see. Ta-da! Oh, you want me to?
It's okay.
So hopefully, I'm hoping to produce other videos on how to make other types of pens, including fountain pens. But to start off with this wood pen, I think it's a simpler pen to make, and again, it makes for such a great gift to give to someone. And the fountain pen is a little bit more complicated, but it's something that I think I'm going to produce videos on how to make, especially custom fountain pens using acrylics.
What kind of wood it is?
Alright. Oh, by the way, this wood is called Sudyang,
Or iron?
local to the Philippines. Very hard wood, and nice to turn on the lathe. It's beautiful black and brown grain to it. And the finish that we applied is a CA finish with boiled linseed oil. And I, again, tried to just show a more of a satin finish as opposed to a glossy finish, because I think the satin finish still preserves the wood feel to it when you're writing. And this is the raw wood that was scrap wood. So it's much better to turn something like this to this, right? So it's something usable, something you can give to other people. So till next time, we'll see you on the next video. Thank you.